श्रीराम जय राम जय जय राम ओम 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 श्रीराम जय राम जय राम ओम श्रीराम जय राम जय जय ओम श्रीराम जय जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्रीराम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्रीराम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्रीराम जय राम जय जय राम ओम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्रीराम 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 जय राम जय जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम जय राम
Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Ram,
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram. Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam to everybody.
Pranam, Swami.
Hari Om.
Pranam, Swami. Pranam, Swami.
Pranam, pranam, pranam. Yesterday we were reading out the portions on dedicating all our activities to God. This is very important because our chanting time is very, very short. Chanting is for remembering Him, and that exercise is very short in our daily life, especially those who are employed, residing in cities. They have hardly any time in the morning, but they may be able to do for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And when they come back, they exhausted. So the non-chanting time is 90% or 95%. No? So if we constantly try, make our efforts to remember Him as many times as possible, then only it will help. But even then the challenge is there. How can we remember Him? So that is why we try this method. What is this method? Everything we handle with a touch of love. Everything. Right from the tiniest, at home, in the office, with friends. Kindly think about it. Because unless we evolve a mechanism, a methodology to bring that God dimension in our dealings, each one can think what method I will employ. One suggestion is handle everything with love. Handle everything with a sense of perfection. That means whatever we do, whole souled, knowingly, consciously, nothing in a haphazard manner, slipshod, clumsy, irregular manner. Anything. Because everything is a form of Him. We are trying to hammer this truth. Nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. Suppose we keep on trying on these lines. We may fail, we may forget, agreed. There may be many circumstances where we will be totally identifying with the circumstances, bereft of the God thought. But let us not get demotivated. In as many opportunities as possible. touch of love, touch of perfection, touch of dedication. At least one or two we can try, You have facilitated everything for me. Mentally, we can say that. And you have assigned this role to me. And I know that it is reaching out to you in different forms. So it should be a dedication. When this dedication aspect wells up in our mind, all our activities will be value-based. Otherwise, it is likely to get shifted to the individual base. I am working for an earning. That is a normal trend. No doubt I am working for earning, but something more is there. Whatever work I do in my company or in my department, it is reaching out to many of his creation. So that means he has provided me an opportunity to involve this should go on mentally. Wherever it is possible, we will try, Because this is very important for us. Non-chanting time is more and more. 95% or 98% it is non-chanting time. So if we limit ourselves only to remember him during the chanting, we will not be successful, because 98 or 99% of our time is on non-chanting. In what we do, what is our attitude, what is our mental framework, it matters much for the effective chanting, because the impact will be there, Kindly think about all these aspects. Any work. Seva becomes more effective by dwelling on the dimension that nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. Nobody is irrelevant, nobody is unimportant, nobody is insignificant. This attitude will come only when we are aware that we are serving God in that form. In other words, when we hurt anybody, we should know that we actually hurt God only. When we do something in a haphazard way, we are neglecting God, disrespecting God. For example, when we wanted a cup of coffee comes to us, either at home or in the office. Suppose we just drink and keep the cup and attend to something else. Unknowingly, we are neglecting, So immediately after we drink, we take up, go there, wash it, and then keep it there with a feeling of warmth. The situation is changed. We may be working on a very important project, and at that time this cup of coffee gives us it stimulates. We should give the equal importance for the tea also, coffee also, and also the container containing that coffee. The mind should not be allowed to say that something we can do it later. This is important. Many of you might have seen the Gandhi movie. In one of the scenes, you remember, in in Bharda Ashram, when Gandhiji was there, all the leaders were there discussing very important matters on the freedom movement, national movement. Suddenly, the goat which was there, it was crying. Gandhiji said, 1 minute, he went out, attended to it and came back. He did not say, go and find out, no. So when we were reading this, nothing is unimportant, nothing is, this is how they touch and kindle, how we should make it a reality in our life. So right from the tiniest to the grossest, we keep vigil, no? We should try, make it as perfectly as possible, attentive. Another incident that comes to us is that, no, when he went to the roundtable conference or something to London, he was having that dhoti that was torn. All big leaders they are there sitting. So Sarojini Naidu felt highly embarrassed. How to tell you? Suddenly she saw Gandhiji going to the washroom. So she also waited outside to tell him. So when he came out, she was trying to make a reference about the dhoti. Immediately she said it was not there. So she said, I came here, I also knew that. But it has served its purpose, na? But at the same time, he saw to it that it is worn in such a way that it does not disturb others. Covered. He does not belittle the importance of the people whose attention is likely to get diverted. At the same time, he is not ignoring the dhoti. Na? So when we go through the biographical sketches or any such incidents in the life of evolved souls, then we get a technique how to bring this into our practical life. Not to appreciate them, not to elegize them, praise them, but how it can be done. That technology, that style of application is revealed to us by God through the life, and He makes us to observe. So we pray to Him, kindly give us that mental attitude where nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant, please. Out of my old habit, out of my priorities and preferences, I am likely to shift all these things to something else, to what I have considered as important, But let me give equal importance to everything. Whenever I fail, kindly pull me up, please. This we can add at the time of chanting Ram now. We have to note down, we may forget. So whenever such dimensions strike to us, we note down. And next day chanting, we can remember this. So we have to evolve some practical methodology, So nice to hear, nice to listen. So what? After our eating, we clean vessels, wash it properly, not as a discipline. Please think over this. Worship does not mean only offering flowers, etc. to the image of the Lord. Keeping anything neat, clean and tidy is also worship. When we keep on pumping these ideas into our mind with a prayer to Him to enable us to see Him in everything, we will slowly find that even while doing simple acts, we will be careful and joyful. In this way, when seva is done, it will cleanse our equipment by enabling us to move from the limited to the unlimited, me to we, individual to universal. In other words, the dominance of the sense of me and mine would be brought down to the barest minimum. Only then can we expand at the outer level and traverse towards the inner level. So both these journeys, outer journey as well as inward journey. When we say outer journey, it will be definitely beneficial in any field. The house will always be clean. The articles we handle in house will always be clean. Everything will be in an order. In our office, when we do that, our efficiency goes up and up. Excellence goes up and up. With the result, our output will be definitely beneficial to the company. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Dexterity in action, efficiency in action is yoga. In this way, there is one more year as we now share these thoughts. It will become very clear to all of us that there is no divide between spiritual and worldly. Because every moment there is a conscious effort on our part to live up to these. Two, three things emerge. For sadhana, we need not go anywhere. When we are dedicating to Him, we not only dedicating to Him who is within, but also dedicating to Him who is also without in various forms. Kindly think about it. So when Papa introduced this triune path, though we give importance to Nyama, because that is something, for a short time, so it is easy for us. But now we come to understand that seva is equally or more important, because more time is spent in seva time, So Puja Swamiji's words gives us some guidance that even if we do for a short time of Nam chanting, it will be with 100% with the right concept, because the effect of which will be there in our activities. So that means while chanting, all these dimensions are to be brought in. Otherwise, it will slip into mechanical, lip level, superficial, ritualistic form. Leaving no dent in our non-chanting time. In this way, so along with Nama, if we do not practice the seva attitude, we will not be able to take to the inward journey properly. The moment we sit and close our eyes and try to concentrate upon the sound of the name, our mind will behave in an unruly manner. If our outer activities are not compatible with our inner aspiration. So that is how that chapter comes to a close. Anyway, we will go to the next, and again we will come back to all these chapters. Going within to feel the presence of God. So Nam, Seva, Dhyan. When we recede into the depths of silence within us, we arrive at the true basis of our life. When we recede into the depths of silence within us, we arrive at the true basis of our life. We discover that from this source, all life and manifestation have come forth in their amazing variety and multiplicity. We discover that from this source, all life and manifestation have come forth in their amazing variety and multiplicity. Thoughts arise from a state where there are no thoughts. Thoughts can arise only from a base where there are no thoughts. It is the thought that makes to recognize all creations. When the thoughts recede to its source like deep sleep, the world, including us, is not recognized. So that is why it has been interpreted by Papa in this way, probably. When we recede into the depths of silence within us, a state where there are no thoughts, that is called silence, we arrive at the true basis of our life. That is the core of our being. We discover that from this source, all life and manifestation have come forth in their amazing variety and multiplicity. It is at this source that we discover the eternal fountain of peace and joy. When we chant Ram Nam, when it helps us to arrest all thoughts and makes us to concentrate on the sound of the name, and when it slows down, and finally when it stops, even if it be for a trice, that is something everybody will enjoy. It is at this source that we discover the eternal fountain of peace and joy. Until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence, vision of this base, vision of this prop, vision of this substratum, until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence, he will be simply groping on the surface and therefore in the dark. Very powerful word. The mind may interpret so many things, but in one stroke, it's all negated. Until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence of the base where thoughts are totally extinct, from where everything has sprung, until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence, he will be simply groping on the surface and therefore in the dark, in pursuit of vain and evanescent things, believing that these can yield him the true peace and happiness which his soul hungers for. The mind will interpret, projecting ourselves, making us conspicuous. All these things are the denial of his existence in us. If he wants this particular form to be projected, he will make his own arrangement. You don't do anything. Because he has actuated everything, he is facilitating everything, and then what do? We are definitely blessed to become the conduit pipe or the instrumental to pass it on. So where do we come? No. If he wants us to bring our thing, he will make his own arrangement. Beautiful, no? Until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence, he will be simply groping on the surface and therefore in the dark in pursuit of vain and evanescent things. That's why we remembered this. Puja Swamiji used to bring out this expression, as is my wont, I pass it on to Papa who is within me. When somebody says, you have done well, Swamiji will not acknowledge. Inside also. Outside he will never say anything. Then he has written, as is my wont, means practice. My practice is to pass on everything to him. When Mataji was asked, when you are doing so many such philanthropic activities, if you make it public, it will be an inspiration for others. Immediately the answer comes, when you do something for your family, do you advertise? You publicize. So when everybody is our own, what is there to publicize? So the moment we try to slip into that, even under the banner of spiritual practice, it will be counterproductive. That means then we will be simply groping on the surface and therefore in the dark in pursuit of vain and evanescent things, believing that these can yield him the true peace and happiness which his soul hungers for. When we reread, then only as a spiritual aspirant, sadhaka, this is meant for sadhaka. The sadhaka should be alert that under no circumstances he pushes himself to the forefront. Not because of shyness, not because of modesty, but purely because of the recognition that God has provided him an opportunity to expend himself in his service. And so there is nothing to which he should boast. When this 12th chapter was taken up, and when he says Sarvarambha Parityagi, a doubt arose that Sarvarambha Parityagi means you become dull, not creative. Is that what the Lord wants? No. He said Sarvarambha Parityagi. Sarvarambha, every initiative that supports or encourages the me and mine, that should be avoided. The other one, spontaneously you are prompted and then you are doing it, that's all. And there also you will be careful not to push yourself. We will again read this. When we recede into the depths of silence within us, we arrive at the true basis of our life. We discover that from this source, all life and manifestation have come forth in their amazing variety and multiplicity. It is at this source that we discover the eternal fountain of peace and joy. This peace and joy and the peace and joy which we understand now is different. That is why Papa had added one more word, eternal. The eternal fountain of peace and joy, which is free from otherness, free from the clutches of possessing, owning, no. It is at this source that we discover the eternal fountain of peace and joy. Until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence, he will simply be groping on the surface and therefore in the dark. In pursuit of vain and evanescent things, believing that this can yield him the true peace and joy which his soul hungers for. We chant, we do bhajan, we do satsang, we hear satsang, we join satsang, we do some reading. But if it does not touch this fundamental existence, our mind may be interpreting that we are all doing spiritual sadhana, believing that these can yield the true peace and joy. But Papa clearly warns us, it will not. So along with chanting of his name and dedicating everything we do to him, we should also practice dhyana, which is an attempt to move from me to him. The me idea exists only at the thought level. In deep sleep, we are not aware of the me factor because no thought is there. So the journey of me to him means that the thought is trying to know its source, stillness. This is called dhyana. So the journey of me to him means that the thought is trying to know its source. We should remind ourselves that utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still. And it is in the stillness that we know and realize God. Stillness is the base and thoughts are floating in it. For example, a site is purchased and a building is constructed there. After the building comes up, we do not remember the site as such. Similarly, though the thoughts exist on the substratum of stillness, thoughts tend to come to the foreground and the stillness remains unrecognized. When the thoughts are quelled, the stillness alone remains. The purpose of dhyana is to realize this truth. We should remind ourselves that utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, and it is in the stillness that we know and realize God. Stillness is the base and thoughts are floating in it. in order that the mind does not interpret stillness as something, ignorance. Stillness is something about stunted activity. We should know that stillness and awareness are one and the same. Awareness absolute. That means it is fully vibrant, When we say stillness, the mind will interpret stillness means everything is quiet. True, everything is quiet. But we are aware, no? We are aware minus the thoughts. That much only we can talk. The rest is experience. Stillness is the base and thoughts are floating in it. For example, a site is purchased and a building is constructed there. After the building comes up, we do not remember the site as such. Similarly, though the thoughts exist on the substratum of stillness, thoughts tend to come to the foreground and the stillness remains unrecognized. When the thoughts are quelled, stillness alone remains. Purpose of dhyana is to realize this truth. In our spiritual journey, it is important to know that simply sitting and trying to meditate will not help unless we do the preparatory work properly, like japa and seva. That means meditation or dhyana is the natural outcome of our japa and seva practices. So without these preparatory prerequisites, that would be the right word. Without these prerequisites, like japa,
Me to we is service, and me to him, capital H is dhyana. Yes, correct.
Yes, correct. Me to we is seva, me to him is dhyana. That means meditation or dhyana is the natural outcome of our japa and seva practices. Japa serves as an aid for concentration where the mind contemplates upon its attributes. Japa is of 4 kinds. Again, because however much we hear, however much we read, our usual practice of or style of life will not change immediately. So that is why Papa is, because he has gone through all these things. This is quite evident from the outpourings that appear on the last portion of In Quest of God. So that is why Papa is bringing all these things into our mind. He is placing before us everything. So he says, japa is of 4 kinds. Chanting of God's name loudly and hearing the sweet music that comes from it. Chanting of God's name loudly and hearing the sweet music that comes from it. Second, chanting God's name silently with the movement of lips and tongue while hearing the chanting, although the voice will not be audible, which is called silent chanting. The first one, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. We hear. Second one, only the lip and tongue will move. Here also we try to listen, but sound will not come. And third one, chanting God's name mentally. This is purely a mental process. Lips or tongue do not move. Here also voice will not be audible. The last one is called ajapa japa. God's name is repeated with the incoming and outgoing breath.
Amma. Net is there, no? Net is there. Swamiji?
Ah.
Yes, yes, there on. Okay, okay. Only the page.
Eh?
Fourth one. Ajapa japa. Fourth one.
Ajapa japa.
அது எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுங்களேன் கொஞ்சம்.
அது Papa says this japa is possible only after a long and constant verbal japa and the mind is completely absorbed in God thought. So at the moment it is only academic. Because incoming and outgrowing breath in Jana, just imagine. That means every second of our life,
Yes.
with no break. So when mingled with breathing, the japa becomes automatic without any effort whatsoever. This japa is possible only after a long and constant verbal japa and when the mind is completely absorbed in God thought.
Then it is mental.
அந்த இது நம்ம எல்லாம் எத்துறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம்.
Mental, correct.
அஜப ஜபா.
முதல்ல வெர்பல் அதுக்கப்புறமா we have to go deep in silence.
So first we will try to do whatever is possible. So first one is when we are doing verbal japa, vocal japa, we try to hear our own chanting. As yesterday we said, people like us who are involved in various activities, it may not be possible when we do the japa when we are in a congregation. But when we are alone and try to do this, all these things can be experimented. So when we are alone, we can try these 4 methods, 3 methods. 4 is the outcome. So we will chant, we will try to hear the music, we will chant, we will hear, but sound will not come. In the first, sound will come. In the second, sound will not come. And in the third, even the lip movement will not be there, but we will chant, we will hear. When we try to practice this as many times as possible, slowly, even during our so-called active life, whenever we get a pause moment, the mind will be trained to chant mentally and try to hear. Outwardly, no activities, no japa activities, but inwardly we will be having. Probably that may lead us to the ajapa japa. So let us try this way. Every day 5 to 10 minutes or half an hour in the morning. We will try these 3 methods. That is why, Papa prompted us here, as we shared with you all. Every day now in Ramana building, a group of people will join together and they will do this 15 minutes vocal japa, verbal. Somebody will be leading, others will be joining, but it will be in a slow speed, where we have got every facility to remember to bring as many dimensions as possible. And this mental chanting takes place for another 15 minutes from 7 to 7:15. And as we keep on trying, on many days somebody has to remind us that it is 7:15. So we can try for this half an hour, no? 15 minutes and 15 minutes. It will certainly not go in vain. And at the end we have found all the participants will not just get up and go. The whatever the japa has led, it will remain there for a few seconds immediately after we stop. Even if it is declared 7:15, there won't be any hurry because everyone is closing their eyes. Distraction is limited. Some sort of discipline, not imposed by anybody, some sort of a discipline takes place by itself. This has to be tried. Last year, during our centenary celebration, we had a pandal in Panchavati, where from 6:30 onwards, this chanting will go on. Slow speed, no accompaniment, only this Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Like that somebody will lead, and we found, excepting those people who are taking part in the non-stop chanting, Nam Saptah, in the Samadhi Mandir, majority of them will be there in the Panchavati hall. And there won't be any other sound other than this. Nobody gives any instruction that all should be observing this, join this, nothing like that. That is not the way in which ashram programs are done. Automatically people gel with it. And at 7:15, when we get up for flower offering, even then at that time, last time it was wonderful because a lot of people were there. Flower offering itself will take more than nearly an hour. So instead of giving flowers, we place that, and everybody will come in queue, chanting the same nama, and then going inside, offering at the holy feet of our masters, and then dispersing. It was a wonderful sight. That means every one of us have been initiated into the joyful state of such type of chanting. After that only we started doing this in Rana building. So this has to be tried. For stilling the mind, we have to systematically train our mind to go along with it. For achieving these 4 methods for controlling the mind have also been suggested. Papa has tried this, that is why he is placing before us. So he has verified the efficacy of it, and it is for us to verify the efficacy in our own life. So first, concentration on the sound of the name. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Concentration on the sound of the name. Concentration on some form of light. Suppose the mind is not accustomed to it, let us concentrate on any form or light. Then, if that is not possible, bringing in the God dimension to wherever the mind wanders, that is identifying everything with God. For concentration, 4 methods of controlling the mind. So first is we try to concentrate on the sound. If that is not possible, we can try to concentrate on the form or the light. Third one is, even in spite of this, the mind goes here and there. Even then, there is nothing wrong, because we try to immediately see him there, wherever the mind has gone. Because now we are moving to a mental state where he is only there, nothing else is there. So when the mind goes to objects, persons, situations, memories, immediately the mind says, oh, you are also this. Immediately it is brought back unknowingly. That's what he says. Bringing in the God dimension to wherever the mind wanders, that is identifying everything with God. And lastly, trying to be the witness of the mind. That is why in ashram, Mataji has inserted this Samartha Ramdas's Manache Shloka, last one, Jyajyastalihe manajaya maje. Wherever the mind goes, there you are. So that means, suddenly we find lot of freedom. Previously we were thinking the mind is running riot, unruly, going here and there, not getting concentrated. Papa, this interpretation gives us tremendous relief. Only thing is we have to bring the God dimension. And lastly, trying to be the witness of the mind. By watching the mind, we detach ourselves from the mind and become a witness of the mind. As we begin to watch the mind, it will gradually cease to be. The witness or awareness alone remains. This is another method. Let the mind go anywhere. We become aware that it goes everywhere, no? Please listen to this carefully. We become aware that the mind goes here and there. Immediately say, wait, who is becoming aware? So 4 methods while chanting. Concentration on the sound, we will try. The sound comes from elsewhere, he used to beautifully bring it out. Sound comes from the soundlessness. Sound is the first expression of the, or movement of the motionless. In the Upanishads we are told, when the Lord wanted to become many, first he brought this space. And the first is sound, Shabdam. Then concentration on some form or light. Bringing in the God dimension to wherever the mind wanders, that is identifying everything with God. Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam, everything has emanated from Him only. So everything is that only. Suppose we dwell on those, immediately the the feeling of mind wandering will stop. And the 4th one is to witness the thoughts. Even now it is there. It is not that we have to cultivate. Because this awareness is always has been with us, this Sakshi Bhava. That is why we say, I today couldn't sleep at all. One after another, so many thoughts were. Who says? Because of what? Because you are witnessing, You know that you are seeing, you know that you are listening, you know that you are sitting. That is knowing principle. It is there, it has been there.
But many times, Swamiji,
Eh?
but many times we travel along, tappuda. We travel along with the thought. It takes our...
No, it is not tappu. Don't think it is a tappu. Our effort is only to become aware of it, that's all. And function. The thought has been given to us to do certain job. Don't belittle.
Okay.
Only thing is, when the identification goes along with the thought, the problem comes.
Yes, yes.
Like
Thought is also
like many other thoughts, many other tools, thought is also we did not ask, he gave us. He gave us the body, he gave us the mind, he gave us the intellect. But we forget that he has given us. We identify ourselves totally with the body, totally with the mind, totally with the intellect. And then the problem comes. So, because nobody can be without thoughts. So as long as we are an embodied self, conscious self. So we are now trying to find out this one. This is very important. It is good that it was raised. It is not a mistake. The mistake only, if at all we call it as a mistake, the mistake is only to identify ourselves with the thought. We are used to that. But Papa now wants us, you during the chanting, if you try this, you become aware of it throughout your existence. The chanting period offers you an opportunity for this indwelling spirit in the form of awareness.
Yes, ma'am.
Every word is... அதனால தான் அவர் சொல்லுவார் இல்லையா, be reflective, be meditative, be reflective, be meditative. So it is tomorrow we will again take it up, because it is very, very important. Because we are used to this Nam Seva Dhyan, we have been doing it. Probably now Papa feels the time has come for us to understand it properly, and then involve ourselves in this Triguna path with 100% involvement. Nam Seva Dhyan. So as spiritual children of Papa, it is incumbent upon us to go through this intensely. And now we find that then it becomes absolutely clear to us that spiritual discipline is not to be treated as a compartmentalized activity, that everywhere, at every time, whether we know it or not, it is there, it has been there. We try to understand it as many times as possible. We can approach it like that. Immediately let us not think that throughout our waking state we will be, no. As many times as possible, this reality, if it is exposed to us, we will be very happy. So we pray to him, kindly make us aware of your presence in the form of awareness, in the form of the Sakshi, in the form of stillness, in the form of creativity. Today when we were going through one another, one thought came, that spirituality, it can be interpreted as creativity and humaneness at the outer level. When it becomes self-centered, finished. But when the creativity is touched and God has given us this required creativity in us. That is why he has sent us to work out his role. So we bring it out. At the same time, there is a likelihood that the thought may interpret that I should get the benefit. That is why it should be humane. Nothing of it should be detrimental to any of his creation. God has given this vocation to us, but at the same time, he wants us to ensure that it does not become detrimental to the interest of our co-creations. So creativity and humaneness. When it comes out in the open, we can say spirituality in expression. One interpretation. Think about it. More of it tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Ram, Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Pranam, pranam, pranam. Pranam to everyone. Hari Om.
Door is closed, Swami.
Door is always open.
Shambhu, you're tired, huh? Huh? क्या क्या नहीं 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 cold नहीं है fresh है हाँ fresh है but when I was sitting I felt little cold came kerchief चाहिए ऐसा लगा फिर it has gone tired है आज camp आइना नाले ഉണ്ട് ദിവസം ഇല്ല ദിവസം വന്നാലേ ഒരു വീക്കിൽ 2 or 3 Swamiji wants Swamiji wants 3 in a week. He told 3 in a week. You were there? Swamiji only Sadhguru school HM has told if possible Swamiji must come. So Swamiji came once for Sadhguru. Once he come and one more is